Welcome back to another episode of the Chris and DJ Show. I'm your host, Chris Shanafelt. He's former Chicago Bears defensive back DJ Moore, and off of a little bit of a hiatus, but good to be back, and we're back the day after Super Bowl 52. The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champs. They defeat the New England Patriots, and
Thank goodness.
it was a great game, which was all I could ask for. And DJ, the Philadelphia Eagles, man, they've proved us wrong all postseason long, and here they are now, world champs.
Yeah, like you said, it was a good game, man. Me and my wife was high-fiving. Whenever you see Tom Brady lose, it is a good feeling because he's like that kid, at the park that always kind of wins and always has everything. And then when he loses, it really hurts him. It's just a good feeling, man. It was just like, can not. And, on top of that, him being the guy that really, made the key mistake and, not seeing that guy coming like red in his face. It was, it felt good, man. It felt like I was out there. I just loved it, man.
It was a really entertaining game, and I was happy on that side, and I was happy to see the underdogs kind of go out on top. I mean, again, all week or all postseason long, I should say. It wasn't just you and I doubting the Philadelphia Eagles, and I'm sure that added some fuel to the fire. We've seen Chris Long and some of the other guys on that Philadelphia Eagles team. They were wearing the dog masks since they were underdogs, and nobody really had belief that they'd make this run to the Super Bowl and ultimately win it. And here they are, Super Bowl champs. And, if you were to tell me that Tom Brady was going to throw for over 500 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, it wasn't a great night by the Philadelphia Eagles defense, which has been their their strength all season long. But they were able to get it done. That's credit to, of course, Nick Foles and the coaching staff there with the Philadelphia Eagles, that offense being able to outplay the New England Patriots offense. And yeah, I know they don't have a great defense, but this is Nick Foles, the second string quarterback. This isn't like when Kurt Warner, who was a backup when he won it with the St. Louis Rams years back, or instances like that. This is Carson Wentz. If he were to stay healthy, I have no doubt that he would have been the league MVP. He was having a hell of a season, and he goes down week 14 against the Rams, tears his ACL, and then in comes Nick Foles, who, he's a proven quarterback in this league. He was looked at as one of the top backups in this league, but I don't think anybody really expected him to go out and kind of carry this team on his back, throw for, I believe he completed about 72% of his passes in the playoffs, 6 touchdowns to just 1 interception. Big credit, and of course Super Bowl MVP played lights out yesterday against the current league MVP and Tom Brady, who won the award over the weekend. It was a fantastic showing for that Philadelphia Eagles offense, and not so much their defense, which a lot of people may have thought it would have been the other way around. Only 1 quarterback sack in this game, and it did come by the Philadelphia Eagles, and it came in a very crucial point into the game, fourth quarter, and of course it was Brandon Graham getting to Tom Brady and forcing the fumble. I wasn't sure if this game was really going to live up to the hype, and there really wasn't much hype surrounding this game heading in, compared to years past. But last year the Falcons and Patriots, this game had a lot to live up to, and I think it certainly did that unexpectedly on my end.
Oh yeah, the game was. I ain't gonna say it was a tale of two halves. It was like, to me, it seemed like there were 2 similar teams. Like on one end with the Eagles, they threw a lot of quick passes. It was kind of the college style where they threw, there was somebody in the flat, there was somebody behind him in the flat. There was always an outlet for Nick Foles where he didn't have to hold the ball, or if it was 1-on-1, get that early. I remember Clement in the end zone, and that was just a great throw. And then Alshon Jeffries, who we'll talk about later, it was a great catch, great throw. But you couldn't get any pass rush because there was a lot of, everything was real quick on both sides. You already know New England, you're going to get it out fast. Small, quick receivers, the running backs are going to come out the backfield. And essentially, I said, if you're going to do it, we can do it better. And they just pace and then that defense. And to me, the mark of a great defense is not that, oh yeah, I'm gonna stop you and shut you down every time you get it. But when there's an opportunity, somebody needs to rise to the occasion, and Graham rose to the occasion at a key time and make the turnover. You don't expect anybody to stop the Patriots. I mean, it was no defense played at all. You know what I mean? It was just like, what is this? I mean, it's like Corey Graham is going Grunt one-on-one. You're like, this doesn't make any sense. And the Eagles, steadfast, like, this is what we going to do. This is how we going to play it. And the offense, pulled it out. And in these playoffs, they have been, even the year they've been the best team, but in the playoffs, offensively and defensively, they have been the best team, and the best team came out on top.
And again, Philadelphia Eagles, they win the Super Bowl. It's their first Super Bowl in franchise history, 41-33 over the New England Patriots.
Cheeses for everybody.
And, man, I mean, were they out partying last night in the city of Philadelphia? And you knew it was going to happen, especially we all know how their fan base is, a very diehard fan base, and you got to be excited for them. And, again, 41-33 was the final score. The most yards racked up by two offenses in a Super Bowl in this game. And again, I mean, some really incredible plays were made. I mean, you mentioned the Alshon Jeffrey play, having some Chicago ties, DJ. The city of Chicago looked at that play and looked at what he was able to do throughout the game and really throughout the postseason, because Alshon Jeffrey was their go-to guy on the offensive side of the ball throughout the postseason. And, a lot of Bears fans are pretty upset that he's not in the blue and orange anymore, and that they decided to get rid of him and not really replace him. But obviously, this is something that he's been looking forward to. He called it last year that he was going to be winning a Super Bowl this year. Little did we know that it'll be with the Philadelphia Eagles. And, again, I mean, how about Corey Clement?
Great call, man.
The rookie running back out of Wisconsin, undrafted free agent, and he leads the game, 4 receptions, I believe, for 100 yards and a score. A very controversial touchdown by Clement, and Zach Ertz also had a
touchdown, man.
Touchdown catch as well.
Champ.
And DJ, with that said, I mean, there's a lot of controversy that maybe Roger Goodell got to these referees' ears and said, if it passes the eye test, then it's a touchdown. Let's not go too deep into some of the calls that we've seen throughout the regular season, like the Jesse James, the tight end from the Pittsburgh Steelers against the New England Patriots earlier in the season, where if you look at the replay and you look at the catch and he crosses a plane, you think automatically it's a touchdown. Then they dive a little deeper and all of a sudden it's no longer a touchdown. Do you think that that's a rule that's going to be kind of addressed throughout the offseason, that where they're not going to look too much into it, where if it passes the eye test and it looks like a touchdown, then it's a touchdown, kind of like the Dez Bryant catch or the Calvin Johnson catch years ago?
I don't think you would change it, just simply because if you change it, there's still going to be questions of what is a catch and what isn't. Those catches last night, to me, look fine. I had no doubts about it. When the guy caught the ball, I mean, the DB is falling. He catches it. He's caught it and he's running into the end zone and he dives for the goal line. And even if they would overturn it, it seemed like his hand was still on the ball and it popped up and he still caught it. The one with Clement in the back of the end zone, it was like he had it with his arm, and then as he was going down, he went to readjust it. So if me going to readjust it, is that me losing control of it? Or is that me, you know what I mean? So it's such a bang play. And when you slow it down, and I don't know who was it I was listening to, like everything slowed down looks like it's incomplete. Like everything does. So when you can slow it down frame by frame like that and change the outcome of games, man, I think you just got to leave it. And especially with that Dez Bryant catch, it was like, it's obvious. He's catching it and he's making a football move to go to, to make it somewhere towards the end zone. So I think it'll be two different rules. It'll probably be an end zone rule and then the outside the end zone rule, because I feel like you catch it and as soon as you get past the goal line, it should be a touchdown. I mean, whenever I touch, if any tip of the ball get past the goal line when I'm the runner, it's just in. So, I even feel like if the ground can't cause a fumble, it shouldn't be able to cause an incomplete pass. It's just my personal opinion. Like if it's the ground, then they're just part of it, and it should be, a complete pass.
And I agree with you. I think the Zach Ertz play was a much easier call than maybe the Clement play because with the Clement play, the ball was kind of juggling in his hands, and then you weren't too sure if that last foot was inbounds, was it out of bounds. But regardless, I mean, the Ertz play, at least, he loses the ball, but while he's on the ground in the end zone, it still ends up in his hands and doesn't touch the ground after that. So I think. Very controversial. The guys that were calling the game for NBC, Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth, they thought it was going to get overturned, and when it wasn't overturned, they were pretty surprised themselves.
Man. Things normally go in the favor of Brady and the Patriots. You know what I mean? Like, and that's what the problem was, really. I think for a lot of people, like, man, this is not going in his favor. Even at the end of the game, you would see that the defensive back was face guarding the receivers. When it happened for the Patriots, they wouldn't call the pass interference. But as soon as somebody touched anybody, when Tom Brady was throwing the ball, it was like, where's the flag? And if you get up and look around, you just see him coming in. And it was the same kind of both ways. I'll take a play when they threw the ball up to Smith when it was one-on-one. Like the defense fighting with him. Like, if there was anybody on the Patriots, it would have been a pass interference. And people just frustrated, like, man, the Patriots didn't get that call. Well, sorry. We're not going to give it to you again. Give you another unfair win. Listen, no, man. Good job by Ertz, man, getting into the end zone. Like, you don't have to stretch it. It was obvious that he was a run. I mean, just obvious on that one, though. Oh, yeah. Now, the Clement one, if you saying that, because I thought when he had the ball on, like, in his, like, mid-bicep, I thought he had control of it then. And that's what they saying, like, he had his feet down right there. And then when he went to adjust to make sure you hold on to it, but the Ertz one is like, come on now. Like, you begging for something.
Right, yeah, and I agree. Like, again, the Ertz one was more clear, more obvious, or easier to call than the Clement play. But, again, a fantastic game, a few fantastic plays. Again, whether it was Jeffrey, Ertz, an undrafted rookie, Corey Clement, or the other guys as well. Garrett Blount in the backfield had a big game. Jay Ajayi, who was just traded for mid-season from the Miami Dolphins. A lot of guys came to play for the Philadelphia Eagles. Torrey Smith showed up, and I think he's kind of been a little bit more of a disappointment than anything for the Philadelphia Eagles this season. Although this offseason he's made quite a few, or this postseason he's made quite a few plays, including that play yesterday in the Super Bowl. So that was nice to see. Now, how about somebody that didn't show up, DJ, and that's for the New England Patriots, Malcolm Butler. A lot of people. They zoomed in on him while they were singing the national anthem, and he was just bawling his eyes out, and that kind of threw a lot of people off. I mean, we know he's a very emotional football player, and this is a guy that has been a huge piece to this New England Patriots defense over the years. He's won them the Super Bowl a couple years back against the Seattle Seahawks, intercepting the football at the goal line. Yesterday, he did, and all season long, he played 97.8% of defensive snaps for the New England Patriots, nearly 98% of all defensive snaps throughout the season. Not one special team snap, and Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots felt, at least explanation after the game, they said that they felt that they put the best guys out there for the matchup that the Philadelphia Eagles presented with their taller receivers in like an Alshon Jeffrey and a Torrey Smith. Of course, Zach Ertz being the tight end as well. Nelson Aguilar at slot. A lot of people, obviously, they heard that and they're not believing it. We're trying to dig deeper into this story. Something had to happen. Something had to happen. And again, he arrived late during the week. He arrived Tuesday while the team arrived Monday because he had the flu. He was sick. This is a guy that, again, played 97.8% of their defensive snaps throughout the season, is probably their or definitely one of their top coverage guys.
He is their top cover guy. And now, Gilmore played a little better this game, but he has been struggling to me, or when I watched him anyway, all season. Now, when you think about it, it's like, okay, the guys are bigger. Okay, now you put, I think it was Lowe as a bigger guy, and Better Mosey or whatever, he's a bigger guy, I guess, or whatever. Now, Patrick Chung he's a safety. He plays physical, but he's not He's not just a big guy or whatever. Because even when Chung went out, it's like, okay, at some point, he should come in. Like, we cannot guard anyone. But it was something. But I mean, I think I've been in a situation like where the coach, hey, listen, we playing, this person or this person because it's better for this team. So I guess they believed in it. But I would think if even in situations where like, cause I wanted to see whenever somebody got hurt, like, was he going to come in? Like it was just something weird about like, okay, like even if you think the size is better, but I mean, is the third or fourth cornerback better than me being out there, even if they're bigger? Like in the essence, it really doesn't make sense. This is essentially your number one guy, sitting on the bench the whole time. I mean, it was just, again, Smith is not that big. You know what I mean? So I feel like you probably could have found somewhere for him to be. I'm sure if he was guarding Ertz on that last play, he probably wouldn't have slipped and fall. He probably would have made a play. Because you got a safety out there instead of a corner, which, Ertz is just a big receiver. So, it's weird to say, but I mean, you don't question Belichick because he wins, but when you lose, it's like, hey. So I'm assuming that this is his contract year and he's going to be gone. He may have lost a little money because of whatever this was that was happening, but, I'm pretty sure he'll be on another team next year.
Yeah, I will. I'll say this: I bet the top bet is for him to land in Detroit, the Bears' NFC North rival, because today it's already official. Matt Patricia, the the Patriots defensive coordinator, is now the Lions' new head coach after giving up 41 points in the Super Bowl. Not that that's gonna change a team's mind, right away. I mean,
he struggled. They struggled all year. I mean, they struggled since he's been the defensive coordinator. Like, they've struggled. He's not the person that's helping them carry the team. It's been Brady and that offense and what they're doing. It's still amazing me how much credit they try to give. Even, during the Super Bowl, they just like, look at him. Look how he's looking. Like, he's thinking of something genius. Like, no, he's struggling and there's nothing that he can do. I mean, think about it, as a defensive coordinator, you look at the Super Bowl like, man, I get to go against Nick Foles. Couldn't do it. You couldn't stop him. Couldn't make adjustments at halftime. I mean, he's going for two. They doing reverse. I mean, they doing whatever they want against you. Like, whatever. I don't know. But, I wish him luck in Detroit.
Hey, you're struggling when Nick Foles has a touchdown reception and, 3 other passing touchdowns and goes on to win.
I'm going to tell you something about that play. It was a great play.
Took it straight from the Bears playbook. Dal Loggins' playbook.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you something. It was the funny thing about it was I did a like high school games down here. Last year we had a real good high school team, Swanberg High School. And no joking, it was overtime. They went for 2. They did the exact same play. But the only thing was they had the running back going out. It was a left-handed, it was a right-handed running back, but he was rolling out to his left instead of to his right. But it took so long that I think the defense kind of figured it out, but the quarterback was open, but the running back couldn't, make that adjustment. Well, I was just laughing like, oh, look at this. And you can see it about to happen. Like, oh, here it is. Because the quarterback is not going to be a lead blocker. But you just know that everybody's eyes are so wide open. You see the end just like, yeah, he's coming to block. Like, no, you probably should get him, but you see the ball in the air like, man, I know that ball was in the air forever. Called it. Say, look at here, man. But, I mean, you got to credit their coaching staff, honestly. And literally go back to what he did good with Chip Kelly. Like, literally, Chip Kelly is someone saying, man, listen, they just won the Super Bowl. Off my offense, I ran at Oregon. Yeah. Well, like, the exact same thing. Like, throw it short. Quick, run up the middle. Zone read. Throw it. Short. Boom. Take your chances. Throw it deep. I mean, Chip is like, that's my stuff, man. Give me my stuff.
Yeah, following the game, somebody asked the Philadelphia Eagles offensive coordinator Frank Reich, about that play, and he said that he was looking over some of the or maybe really looking over the film, but he picked up that play from a Bears game 2 years ago when they ran that exact play against the Minnesota Vikings. Cameron Meredith, wide receiver, threw it to Matt Barkley, who caught the pass. There you go with that. And who would have thought that one of the league's top offenses would have been paying attention to Dow Loggins ran play. But this does give Bears fans hope. I mean, Matt Nagy comes from the same coaching tree that Doug Peterson comes from, and I'm not saying
Here we go.
I'm not saying expect this from the Bears next season or even in the near future, but it does give Bears fans hope that again, Doug Peterson. I mean, this is a guy that 9 years ago was just a head coach at a high school and kind of worked himself up. Obviously, we talked about Matt Nagy and how he's been able to work up the ladder. But before we get sidetracked, though, DJ, I do want to get one more thing out on the Malcolm Butler situation. As a player, DJ, I mean, how's that whole situation kind of being looked at in the locker room with the players? I mean, obviously, we don't know all the details on it, but this is the Malcolm Butler found out. I mean, you have to think right before the game. I mean, you've seen how emotional he was during the national anthem. I mean, if you're a player in that defensive backfield specifically, getting this news thrown at you, hearing that your best cover cornerback isn't going to be playing all game long. I mean, that's got to mess up not only your mindset as a defensive back, but the entire defense as well.
Oh, not really, man. Now with Butler, it's gonna mess up his mindset and the relationship that he's built. Probably with Belichick or whoever's DB coach, whoever put him in this situation. He sat with his helmet on by himself. He didn't talk to anybody. It was just like literally in disbelief. Man, I was a super hero not too long ago. Like, man, they're really trying to pull this on me. But as a defender, I mean, you just go out there and do your job. You know what I mean? Like, you'll feel for him. You'll probably talk to him I'm sure everybody on the team talk to him after the game, man. Keep your head up. Don't worry about it. Keep pushing. We'll be back at it next year. Blah, blah, blah. But when you're in that situation, sometimes you got to leave guys alone. Cause when you see the camera around him, he was just all by himself. Cause some things you can't really come over and say to somebody like, "It's gonna be all right." Like, no, man. Like, just let me chill in my space because this is because it's devastating, man. Like, to learn that, you're not gonna play before the game. And only thing I can equate it to, which is not probably as big as the Super Bowl, but my rookie, I knew I wasn't playing. I knew I wasn't going to play. I knew I wasn't going to get in, but I didn't understand that you didn't dress out. You know what I mean? So when the guy came and took my pads and jersey and stuff, it hurt me a little bit. I was like what? It makes you not feel part of something. And for a guy, like you said, that played 97% of those snaps. And for you to have a guy come up to you and say, "Hey, man, you ain't gonna play none." That's a punch. That's that's one of the Mike Tyson punches. What are this? What? You know what I mean? Now, we don't know if he told him during the week. We don't know if he told him right before. You know what I mean? We don't know what was said or whatever, but it just seemed weird. Even when Chong went down, it's like, okay, well, the natural progression is the next best player in your defense will come in, which would be him, correct?
You would think.
No, you would think. So, from his point of view, it's just terrible. From other players, no, we just got to get a job. Now, you put me in, I'm going to do the job. I feel bad for you, but I ain't going to go out and make it up because my tail is on the line each and every year. So, I'm going to have to get my job done.
Yeah, and, that's Bill Belichick's mantra right there, do your job. And, former Patriots defensive back Brandon Browner, he's been airing out a lot of support for Malcolm Butler on Instagram, and not so much support for Belichick and his decision in benching Butler. Go ahead.
Well, and the thing, he's he's just your best player, man, at the cornerback position. And the thing when you have the last play. Even though McCourty is a great safety, he's been in the Pro Bowl at the cornerback position before, but he's played more safety. Think about a simple slant route. Like literally, what he helped them win the Super Bowl by was jumping the slant route. Like you could imagine, like if he was in there, you know what I mean? Like if the cornerback was in there in that position, playing one on one at the tight end, would have been a bang bang play. Would he been a little bit closer to him? Where if he would have failed, it would have been like it's probably been incomplete because I think the reason that it was complete was because the DB is falling. He didn't touch him. Now, if you was attached to him the whole time, would it be incomplete? Probably so. So I would have took my chances with a cornerback in that situation, even though it's a bigger guy. But he's just a receiver. All night you seen Corey. Sometimes that's just what it is, but you got to do that. Even if you would have put Steph on somebody. But when you don't do it, you got to answer for it. And when you lose, you got to answer a lot of questions about it.
Yeah, you got you got that right. And again, you guys are tuned into the Chris and DJ show. I'm Chris Schanfeld. He's former Chicago Bears defensive back DJ Moore. And DJ, you've never been able to play in a Super Bowl, but you did get to the NFC Championship game. And in that NFC Championship game, your starting quarterback was knocked out of the football game with what was a knee
There you
injury.
go again. There you go again.
And you guys were forced to play with a backup quarterback, so you kind of know how this whole thing feels now. I'm not saying Caleb Haney was on the same level as maybe a Nick Foles was, not nearly as reliable, or maybe you guys wouldn't, or I don't want to speak for you guys, of course, but maybe you guys didn't have as much confidence in him as you would have in a guy that was a starter in the past, and you guys already kind of know what you're getting in Nick Foles. But, when you have a backup quarterback, and you're playing on that team's defense, I mean, do you guys feel that it's, you guys have to put more, there's more weight on your shoulders to make bigger plays, and that, again, just the game as a whole, it's more on your shoulders to get, to as you said, get the job done?
I think in our situation, it was because, one of the greatest quarterbacks of what we probably ever see in Aaron Rodgers. So it's like, man, we got to make sure we step it up and don't give up any more points, because the way the game started off, it was 14-0, and we're like, hey, listen, we got to, even with color, we had to make sure that, because the team was a defensive team. In the Eagles situation, it's a little bit different because at the end of the year, it was more so they had to play defense, and then once the playoffs hit, they hit their stride and they figured out, like, man, this cat can really play, and all they got to do is say, listen, if we make a couple of plays, we're going to win it. And essentially that's what it boiled down to. Like Nick Foles, he shredded up the best defense in the league and then went on to the Patriots and essentially outdo Tom Brady, man. Like that was impressive to me. And a question I got for you, honestly, is like, as a quarterback, as Carson, what does this do for him? You know what I mean? Like, to see somebody coming in your position. And to me, I think in the playoffs play, even though they were saying Wentz was on a Pro Bowl season, all that, like, he played the position as best it could be played in the playoffs. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And then at the end, outdo the greatest quarterback of all time, they call it, to win it. I mean, so how does Wentz come into this situation next year, though?
Of quarterback controversy here?
No. They gonna keep Wentz, but what's gonna happen is, to me, it's like, well, like the expectations for you now is just like don't you have to win? Like, if Nick Foles can do it, like what's like come on, like give me a break now. Now I think he probably will leave and go get some money. Like, you have to get him some money somewhere, but they'll implement the offense for him, but. I mean, goodness, man. Like, I would think about, what? This offense with Nick Foles, you know what? I don't know. I don't know, man.
I will say you don't get rid of Nick Foles until Carson Wentz comes back and shows you he's 100% healthy. And obviously it's going to take some game action to kind of get him back to the speed where he was at before he got hurt. But, to answer your question, DJ, I got to think, and I've never played the game, but, if you lead your team and before you get hurt, your team is the number one seed in the NFC and the arrow's pointing upward for you guys. You guys are the favorite in the NFC, and you go down with a season-ending injury, and you see your backup quarterback, a guy that you spent a lot of time with in meetings and in practice and all that, and you see
That
him go out
sucks.
and win the football game. Not only regular season games while you're out, but leading that team in the playoffs, winning every single playoff game in the Super Bowl, even though you guys are underdogs. I'm sure there's a part of you that is happy, but deep down, you got to know the emotions are high, and you wanted to be out there in that game, and that the fact that you led this team to have so much success in this season, and yes, they probably wouldn't be there without you. To see them get the job done without you, though, I gotta think that really burns you deep
Listen,
down inside.
as a player, that sucks, man. And I know people. I'm all about the team. I get it. Blah blah blah. I love the team, but to see somebody win without you, when all they did was say it couldn't be done without you, it knocks you down a peg because we didn't even need you. Not only did we not need you, we didn't even need you against the league MVP. Like, if you come back and you healthy, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, like, you just feel bad. I remember when I was like in my third year, and actually, it was Corey Graham. We was playing nickel. I got hurt. He came in. I think he had like, hurt my ankle or something. He had like 3 picks or what in like 3 games. Now, I'm happy for him, but at the same time, I'm like, hell no. What? Like, you just want to be, but it's just as hard because once you see him, like, he's celebrating, like, oh man, good job. But it's like, that's too good of a job. That you need to back that up a little bit. But I'm sure he'll be the starting quarterback next year. But still, it's just like, ow.
Even if he had to witness them still winning the game, I'm sure he would have liked to see Nick Foles struggle a little bit more. Maybe not win the game MVP. Maybe throw a couple interceptions. But Nick Foles was on fire not only last night in the Super Bowl, but really all postseason long. After the game, Rob Gronkowski was one of the many Patriots to meet with the media. I gotta think that's one of the hardest things to do is answer a bunch of questions about a very close game in the Super Bowl that did not go your guys' way. And somebody asked him if he was even contemplating retirement or if he plans on being back next season, and didn't really give a straightforward answer. He said he's going to take some time to think about his future. Maybe retirement.
How many years has he played?
I think he just completed his 9th season, I believe.
It's been that long?
Yeah, I want to say his 9th season. Maybe
he is
8th.
An injury-prone fella now.
And
he is big, but when he hits the ground, it's like, how's he gonna get up?
And obviously playing the tight end position, not only are you going out as a receiver, but you're making a lot of contact at the line of scrimmage as well. When you're asked to block, and as you said, I mean, he's had elbow injuries, a few knee injuries, and it sounds like I was listening to they may not even know anything, but it was some journalists from Boston, and they're thinking it was really just this past concussion that has really had him thinking quite a bit, and who knows if there's any truth to that or not. But obviously, day by day, week by week, and year by year, we learn more about concussions and what they do to your brain and the effect that they could have long term. I don't know if Gronkowski's really contemplating this or not. I would be surprised if he calls it a career, but we've seen guys in the past like Patrick Willis comes to mind, who called it a career, while he was still in his prime, linebacker for the 49ers. We see it every year. The Chris Borland, the other young linebacker for the 49ers, had a stellar rookie season. I believe he was a 3rd-round pick and was one of the 49ers' top leading tacklers, and he called it a career after one season there in San Francisco. So it seems like this is more of a common trend for the NFL and for some of the younger players in the league. But and again, hey, 8-9 years, whatever it was for Gronkowski, I mean, that's a long time to play in the league. Regardless, I think the average career lasts about 2.5 years, if that. He's won a couple Super Bowls. I think he's only played in 1, though, if I'm not, or now 2, counting yesterday. But 2 years ago against Atlanta, or last year against Atlanta, he was out. But regardless, a stellar career. Probably, if he did call it a career, he'd probably be a Hall of Famer. I don't think there's any doubt in that. Maybe not a first ballot, but he's had a great career, and I don't know if I'm really buying the whole retirement talk. Maybe it's something he is truly thinking about, but I gotta think he's soon back up next year for the Patriots.
I would think so. He seems like the life of the party, man. He does his little dances and goes out like he. I think he one of those guys that enjoys it. He remind me of kind of like Tom Brady. Like when you see him win, or even when you see him lose, you know it hurts and you know they invested in it. So I think he'll be back. But you know what? Like with all these injuries piling up, if he probably get another concussion, he may, call it a quit. It seemed like he's either talked to somebody or a doctor or somebody has talked to him like, hey man, you've had, a little bit too many of these. And then this last one was like, well, will he get back? Will he not be back? It seemed like it took a little bit longer, which I think makes you really contemplate and like worry, like, man, like, what took this one so long? So is it starting to carry more of an effect on me now than they were before? Cause like you said, like he's playing a position, even though he's playing a position where you going over the middle and they are trying to knock your head off your shoulders, sir. And that too changed the game, I think, also with Cooks being knocked out of the game because
oh yeah.
Even though I think they threw a couple balls down the field, like it takes away your deep threat and it changes the way the defense can do. Even though they still couldn't stop him, there was one of those plays that was kind of like, wow, like he did not. It was just, it was just weird. It's like, oh, because when he was running, I was like, oh, you know what? I think he lost sight of one of them. Oh no! So, and once I seen that, I thought the game would go differently. I honestly thought after that play, the Eagles was kind of pull away a little bit because I was thinking that they could change their defense up a little bit, but they still, happened, to win the game after that. But I really thought like, man, once he goes down, this changes things a little bit.
Yeah, 9 receptions, 116 yards, 2 touchdowns for Rob Gronkowski. Brandon Cooks, that was his lone reception for 23 yards, and he got smacked silly on that play. Suffered concussion like Simmons.
Yikes.
Now, not injuries are not funny, but that was that play. I mean, that it made you go ooh and ah when watching the replays on that one, man. I mean, he got smacked, and like you said, running in circles. Kind of lost sight of one of the defenders, and the rest was history after that one.
Yeah. To take into account, Chung got hurt. He was out of it. Like, even the running back, Ajayi, was like, hey, man, he's asleep. And, like, he just did this, like, man, he's asleep. Y'all need to come help him out. He gets up and somehow gets the quickest evaluation you've ever seen, and then he's back in the game. You know what I mean? Like, if they took, and I don't remember them taking him back to the locker room. Because to me, if you want to think about player safety, like, you have to take him back. When another player say he's, like, man, he's sleeping, like, he's not moving out here. And to me, he didn't look the same after that play. So I think you just like, man, like y'all really are trying to, to keep him out there. And I think there has to be like another level of authority to where it's like, hey, coach, this cat has to go back. Like he can come over to the side and I can look at you and say, hey, are you okay? And you be like, yeah, I'm okay. Cause I'm an athlete. I'm always say I'm okay. I'm always okay. No matter what. Super Bowl, I'm okay twice. Even though I just woke up from a short nap that I didn't know I took. some has to give, I think, in situations like that. Because that was just like, you can tell that was like something was off about that.
Especially, in a game where you have over 100 and what was it, 110, 120 million, or probably even more than that, viewers watching. I mean, not a good look for the league, and unfortunately, the league has taken many hits like that. Where like earlier in the season, you see Russell Wilson, he goes in that little tent that they have, and literally walked in, and 2 seconds later, he walked right out and was ready to go back under center.
Tent.
The league.
Who came up with the tent?
I have no idea.
Oh my goodness, man! They just secretive, man. Here goes the tent. How you like that halftime performance, man?
I thought it was all right. I mean, I wasn't crazy about it, but it
You
wasn't
had it.
it wasn't
He
too
should have
bad.
brought out NSYNC, man. You know you gotta come on, man. You gotta the boy bands always hit home. You know, good. Like to me, I was like, man, he's the only one. Everybody else always bring people out. Now I know he had his own big band or whatever. But like, man, like give us something.
Yeah,
Well,
that
I guess the
I was
kid in the
surprised about.
stands with the selfie, he's big
Yeah,
time now.
yeah.
So he might as well change his check to blue and get at it, man.
Hey, don't forget Prince, man. He made a special appearance.
It was somewhat wrong with that too. The way they did that with
The city.
I don't know how they did that. That was impressive.
Yeah.
That was something else. So yeah, but that was a cool tribute. But when they showed it on the outside, and they're like, oh well, that is something.
Yeah.
That is something there.
Yeah, Minnesota Purple, of course, Super Bowl 52 was held in Minnesota. And what's this do for Nick Foles, though, DJ? I mean, Super Bowl MVP, completed over 70% of his passes, 6 touchdowns to just 1 interception in the playoffs and the Super Bowl. He's under contract for 1 more year with the Philadelphia Eagles. He's due about $7.5 million, which, to you and I, DJ, sounds great for one season. Let's go. I'll sign up any day. But for quarterbacks, that's relatively cheap. And you put
Really cheap.
You add what he's what Nick Foles is making and what Carson Wentz is making, which is about $7 million as well. You add that up, and that accounts for number 18 compared to the starting quarterback salaries in the league. Those two salaries combined.
Well, Wentz is going to get paid a lot.
Right, he's still under his rookie deal.
No, you would think if he continues what he's continuing, direction he's going. I think that if you saying that Wentz is your guy, which they saying that he is, then you trade Nick Foles. You get another backup quarterback, and then you trade him because right now he should be a pretty good commodity right now. Like, hey, if you want him, we got him under another year. So I would expect him to be traded, man. I don't know where to. If I think Doug Marrone in Jacksonville could use him. Like he has that college background where he can implement that style of offense where I remember he was in Buffalo, he was really up tempo, probably the fastest offense in the league. So I think that something can work because it's like they're not sold on Bortles at all. You would think, I wouldn't say the Browns. I guess don't nobody want to be sent to the Browns. But there's different situations in the league right now that if you got a young-minded coach that can implement, a really good, really that college style offense that he's used to and what he's thrived in, I think there's a lot of places for him, man. Like it's an MVP quarterback is on the market, man. That's something, ain't it?
Well, what would you be willing to give cheap for Nick Foles? I mean, Alex Smith, your boy, was just traded from Kansas City to Washington for a 3rd-round pick and a pretty good nickelback in Kendall Fuller, a younger guy as well. Jimmy Garoppolo was traded from New England to San Francisco for just a 2nd-round pick. Nick Foles, you would be getting a guy that only has one more year left on his contract. Again, pretty cheap for a quarterback as well. You would probably look to do a sign and trade, and you'll be giving him a lot of money while making that deal. Look at those other 2 recent quarterback trades. Would you give them somewhere around a 2nd or 3rd round pick? I think I would lean more so towards maybe a 3rd round pick, but his stock is at all-time high right now.
Yeah, it's at all-time. And these are like he got to watch you outdo Tom Brady. To me, I think a 2nd round pick would be fine. Even as a 3rd, I think for the Eagles, you have to get something because I think you either have to, if you keep him, to me, I think you have to start him. But if you don't keep him, don't start him, he would have to go somewhere because if you don't, what is the fan of a brotherly or something like
Yeah,
that.
City of Brotherly Love.
Yeah, it's none of that. Like if Wentz struggles, there will be no love for him because you have a guy in the back of that. Like we've seen him do it, and right now he is the fan favorite. Even though that
They've
people
seen him
love,
struggle too, though.
yeah, but not this year though,
Right.
because they seen his rookie year. But after that, it was like, oh my goodness, they are really awesome. So if you come back and you keep Foles in the fold, it's like, coach, we know somebody who can do it. Like we've seen him. So put him back in. And I don't think it's just healthy for your young quarterback to have to look over his shoulder like that. So to me, to go forward with Wentz, you have to get rid of Foles. Now you can keep him $7 million. It ain't much. Both of them are cheap because it's the new rookie deals or whatever. But I just think to let him grow and let him make sure he's the guy, to not mess with his confidence, man. I think you just have to just get what you can for Nick Foles and add a couple extra pieces. To me, if they can add somebody who can run deep, like a Deshaun Jackson, like when he was there, when Chip Kelly had him, when you can just run past people because they just won a Super Bowl and nobody could run by anybody. Now they could do jump balls and different things like that, but if they add a deep threat to this offense, when you already got a running back, a great offensive line, a good defense, the sky's the limit.
Yeah, and if I had to make a prediction, again, I have obviously we're one day removed from the biggest game of the year, from Nick Foles' best showing of his career. I don't know, something for whatever reason, I'm towards Philadelphia keeping Nick Foles again. ACL injuries, we see guys come back from them all the time, and they're able to be back to their old selves or better, like Adrian Peterson years ago. But I gotta think they keep Nick Foles behind Carson Wentz. Wait until Carson Wentz is 100% healthy, whether that's before the regular season kicks off or during the regular season. Then maybe when they see.
But if somebody calls you like, "Hey, listen, I got a second round pick," like what are you gonna do though? You know what I mean? Like I already know if he's probably gonna be back. I mean, I get the ACL injury and things, but listen, cats are coming back really fast. He'll be back probably the start of next year. Now, if it was his shoulder, like an Andrew Luck, where it's like, or Peyton Manning thing, like, I don't know if that's going to come. His nerves are going to come back.
Right.
Like, we already know you're going to have a good surgery, blah, blah, blah. Things normally go good. You normally have the best doctors in the world look after him. You do what you got to do. I mean, he was out on the field, walking around looking jolly-o. You know what I mean? So, if somebody comes and say, "Hey, listen, I'm gonna offer this, and this for Nick Foles," which you would think they would, because whoever comes and get him, they already know whatever he did this year. I mean, in the playoffs, watch the film. We're gonna put those plays in. Whatever he did with Chip Kelly when he had I think it was 20 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. We're gonna put it together for him. And listen, he should be successful in this because whenever somebody's put him in this situation in his college style offense, he has looked awesome. And not only that, he's a Super Bowl MVP, man. Come on, man.
Yeah, I will say it's a lot easier said than done. I mean, if somebody's calling your phone, offering you a second round pick or maybe even more, who knows? It is a lot more difficult to turn down in the moment than kind of just talking about it right now. Now, yesterday, the Super Bowl, it wasn't the only big thing that went down over the weekend, DJ. The Pro Football Hall of Fame did
what?
as well. we finally know who will be inducted into this 2018 class of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and that includes a former teammate of yours, and Brian Urlacher, linebacker, along with Ray Lewis, Brian Dawkins, safety, and wide receivers Terrell Owens and Randy Moss. Randy Moss is the greatest of all time, in my opinion.
I would agree with that.
Have you had any matchups with either of those two, T.O. or Moss?
I don't think so. Well, I played more on the inside too, though.
Right,
so
right.
I mean,
you didn't catch Moss
when you big time. Well, I'm gonna tell you something. I got benched actually when we played against them in San Fran. I think he was in San Fran. So, yeah, I got.
You missed out.
Yeah,
You
so
missed out.
I missed out, but I got to check it. I got to watch it though. So yeah.
Well, looking at this class, it's probably my favorite class of all time. This is a really and it's always a star-studded class. Obviously, these are the best of all times, and again, starting with your former teammate Brian Urlacher. I mean, what was kind of your reaction when you heard the news that it was official? I mean, I remember a few weeks ago we were talking about it, and are the writers going to vote both him and Ray Lewis in on the same year? Two middle linebackers. Will they both go in? And with Ray Lewis now being in the media and obviously a lot more attention given towards his way, I mean, and making relationships with some of the Pro Football Hall of Fame writers, you kind of thought, or at least I did, that, Ray Lewis, if one had to go in, Ray Lewis would probably get the nod over Urlacher. I'm happy to see that they were both able to get in at the same time in the same class. Your thoughts on your former teammate being officially inducted to the 2018 Hall of Fame?
Man, it was just awesome to see. And I felt proud myself. I mean, to get to play alongside a guy that I'm sure that Hester at some point will make it too, to get to play again, with two of them. And I really didn't think he was a first ballot, and it's not because he's not really good. I just thought that, like you said, they was going to either choose one. Just simply players alone, I think Ray Lewis has probably done just a little bit more. I thought he played a couple more years or so. So I think I thought Ray Lewis would just be the one that got in instead of Urlacher if they did it that way, like we talked about. But they found a way to put them both in. They found a way to put two receivers in as well. So I'll do a say congratulations. I think he's done a little bit of media stuff too, I believe. So what I've learned, it seems like when those guys are on the edge of it, you have to get on ESPN or Fox or something. And it seemed like it always sways the vote your way, which is kind of weird. Cause even with like Chris Carter, I didn't think Chris Carter should have got in. I think he should have waited until he was old and gray or something. But when you in that limelight and they get to see you time and time again, it's just like, you know what I mean? Cause I don't know who voting for. I don't like the way they do it with just, the writers voting for. I feel like there should be a way that former players and, peers or whatever can have like a vote or whatever too. Cause it just doesn't, to me, I don't think the voting thing, like the writers, it doesn't make sense, because when you see it like with a Terrell Owens, like, well,
these guys will hold grudges if you don't give a great interview, or you snap off on somebody.
And T.O., like, he had to get in. If he didn't get in this time, there was gonna be like a riot or something. Like, I mean, one of the greatest receivers of all time, and I would say probably the third best receiver of all time. Struggling to get in. I mean, to me, it just made no sense. But he finally got in, which I think was a good thing. Randy Moss is Randy Moss. Like, move over. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Just move over. He had to be in. I think, did Brian Dawkins get in?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, and he did a lot of media stuff. He was just different, man. I used to watch videos before the game of him, and he was just, like, his whole energy was just different. Like, the whole Wolverine thing, and, like, there was just, you know what I mean? Like, he was just different, so.
I'm glad he got in over John Lynch. I actually thought John Lynch, the former Broncos, the former, what team did, Tampa Bay as well, won a Super Bowl with Tampa Bay, safety. John Lynch, now the general manager for the San Francisco 49ers. For some reason, I thought he was going to get the nod over, if there's going to be a safety voted in this year's class, I thought he would have gotten the nod over Brian Dawkins. But
it might have been the media thing, though.
Right,
right. I mean, that's what it might have been. To me, I think
with that said, I think Dawkins is more deserving. I'm glad the writers got it right. I think Dawkins is more deserving to go in than John Lynch.
Yeah, but I don't, because Brian Dawkins just was a different style. Like, he brought a different energy, man. Like, he was just different. Like, when he came out of the tunnel, like, you wanted to see it. Like, it was just like this is what it is, man. Like, I remember my first time seeing it. I think it was in with the Broncos or whatever. He came out of preseason, like I'm on the field. Like, I want to see this. Like, this is So it's, you say congratulations to those guys and the guys that fell short of it, man. Congratulations because you considered, what I mean? I wish I was considered, but I didn't do much. So, but congratulations, to Urlacher, man. And, to get to play, alongside a guy like that. And he is a special player because when I got to Chicago, I just thought he was going to be an asshole. Like I just thought he linebacker, goddamn, a white boy, he just going to be an asshole. That's who he going to be. And he was just cool, man. I can't explain it to you. You know what I mean? Like he was just the coolest cat ever. Like he let everybody, do what they did. He was a leader in a different way. I think he talked to us like once when I was there. And you can tell he was nervous, but most of the time, like, he just led by his actions, man. He always smiled. And when you made a mistake, he would pat you on the head the same way when you made a play. Like, he was just real, like, hey, man. And then every now and again, he would blow up, like, hey, man, we got to get this done. And, like, and you took that to heart. Like, everybody on that defense took that to heart because they know, you play for each other. And I think Lovie Smith's big thing was, like, no man is bigger than the defense. And Urlacher had to do his job just like everybody else. But it was fun, man, truly fun, to play alongside of him.
And, he kind of helped revolutionize the linebacker position, kind of turn it into something else that we've never really seen before. I mean, he was a safety in college coming out of New Mexico. A lot of people right off the bat had their doubts about Brian Urlacher, and then his rookie year, he kind of played both of the outside linebacker positions before moving inside to middle linebacker. And then obviously the rest was history. Now we're starting to see guys, Telvin Smith from the Jaguars, a faster linebacker, Deion Jones from Atlanta, kind of guys that I'm not really going to compare him to a Brian Urlacher or anything like that, but you do see similarities in kind of those guys.
Luke Kuechly is essentially what he was. You know what I mean? Like he was just like, essentially to me, and that's probably I think the best comparison that you can have. Like a guy that can run sideline to sideline, a little bit undersized at times, but always makes it happen. And I think sometimes when you're a little bit undersized and when you played safety and you come in and move down to that position, you got to think you're too as well, because those guys, help with that. I think even with Lovie Smith and his system, it's perfect for a guy like Urlacher, like where you can, your position, what you're gonna do, you're in two, you can either run through the middle, which he 6'3", 6'4", his size is perfect for it, and then you can run sideline to sideline with that quick flow and in defense. So he was a beneficiary of just being really athletic and also coming to a coach and a system that fits you perfectly. Now he could have did it in any other system as well, but I think that cover two system, fit him really well.
Now when he's enshrined in Canton, Ohio, over the summer, DJ, does his bronze bust have hair? I mean, have you seen he has a new hairdo now with Restore? But does he get the bust and does he have it created with hair or is it bald like he's playing?
Well, when I played with him, he didn't have hair, but I seen pictures where he did when he first started. So if they going with the youthful him and they messing with the older him, then he'll have a lot of hair. So I don't know. I'm assuming that they put a little bit input on it, but I think he probably won't have it though. I think you just remember him not having hair, having the stuff over his eyes or whatever. But man, listen here, it don't matter, man. When you get to go into the Hall of Fame, man, you know what? Congratulations, man.
Yeah, you got that right. And this is probably something I should have texted you and let you get some more thought on. DJ, but how many Hall of Famers, off the top of your head at least, do you think you've played with? I mean, you got Urlacher.
Yeah.
Is Briggs a Hall of Famer? Maybe one day, I don't know. You mentioned Devin Hester, Julius Peppers.
I think Hester is. I think Peppers is. Like, I don't know when, because with Hester, I think it's special team, I think related, so it's like he's a Bird's first ballot greatest special team player of all time. So he's like that Ray Guy type guy. So I think he'll get whenever he's available. Peppers is still playing and still getting it done. He's in. Olin Kreutz played for a long time, but I think he may have a chance, I think, but it may take a longer time.
He's in the media now too, at least locally here in Chicago. He's doing a really
Yeah,
good job with
so
the pre and post game shows. So maybe we talk about the media kind of helping some of these guys out. Maybe that
so
could
if
help
he
him
gets more,
boost
I
his
guess
career.
mainstream media, but I think it may take him a little longer time. Um, who else was it that we played with? That was like you said, Lance Briggs, but I don't know how many years did he play? Did he play enough years? Because he was awesome, man. Like the linebackers that we had, him and Urlacher was 1A, 1B, or 1A, 1A. Like our defense ran through him. Like we funneled everything to him, and he was a hard hitter, man. He did everything that needed to be done. So I think he has the talent. I don't know if he has the
Yeah, he
years
played
and
12 years.
yeah. So you know what? Yeah, you know what? I think so, but I don't know when because people don't hold him to the high standard of Urlacher. So when you think of
Right.
those two, it's like but I think they were probably should have been the same playing level for me anyway. Especially when I was here, I thought he was the better of the two, but I guess so. I say yeah, man. So I'm gonna go Lance, yes, definitely, Hester, definitely, um,
Kreutz maybe.
Croots, maybe,
I think his play. I think
uh,
it certainly speaks for himself, and I think he's certainly deservingly so. But like you said, I think it's just going to take some time for him, and especially playing that center position. I think there's a couple guys on the offensive line, Alan Faneca, Steve Hutchinson, who were close getting in this past year, but were just left off. Let me ask you this one. I think a lot of people view him in the Hall of Very Good, but I think he's had a very underrated career. And that's Peanut Tillman. I mean, I don't think he'll get in, but I
I
think
didn't
he
think
should.
about that.
I think he should at least get some consideration.
I think he will because I think he's part of that 30-30 club, I believe,
Yeah, I
where I
think you're
think he
right.
had the forced fumbles and Charles. Because I know Charles Woodson, he's in the media, but he was going to get in.
Yeah,
Um, and Peanut hasn't been like that flashy guy where you can say, hey, man, he has his own island, anything. Like sometimes he would struggle, but you already know he would make plays. He would make you fumble. I just think simply being at 30-30 club, because he's in the same category to me as like the Charles Wilson and like is it Runday Barber or Tiki Barber?
yeah, Rondé.
Which one was in Tampa? Runday?
Yeah,
In Runday, I feel like he's in that type of club too, where they did like he played safety, he played corner, he came up, made tackles, made people fumble. So they seem like they fit that same mold. But I think if it was to come down between those two guys, Runday would probably be in just simply because of the Super Bowl. Um, so I think eventually he really should get in just based on like players not being able. I mean, that 30-30 club is impressive. And to do that, here in Chicago and a bit medium, I think he should, man.
I
But I
hope
think
so.
it depends too on that. Like, is he gonna get on ESPN point? And you know what I mean? Like, it's because I thought to me, like I said with the Chris Carter thing, I didn't think he would get in for a while, but it pumped it faster. You know what I mean? Like you got in before To, like it pumped it
Right.
really fast. So I think he should. I didn't even think about that.
He did.
Yeah, man.
Right when
Yeah.
he called it a career, he did do a little bit of media for Fox, and now, last I heard, he's trying. He's going for the FBI. Turning.
He's a smart fellow, man. He truly
I
is
don't
smart.
doubt it. I don't doubt it. So
Yeah.
that I'd love to see Peanut Tillman get in, and that would be really cool to see. But again, congratulations to the 2018 class of Pro Football Hall of Famers, including your former teammate Brian Urlacher being inducted. Let's see. Final topic, DJ. We got to talk a little bit about Alex Smith going to the Washington Redskins. Your
Why?
guy. Your guy.
Why?
That
Why? Okay.
So Washington trades a third round pick and Kendall Fuller, the younger brother of Bears cornerback Kyle Fuller, playing nickelback for Washington, traded to the Kansas City Chiefs for Alex Smith. And then immediately after that deal, Alex Smith signs like a 4-year, I want to say $98 million deal with $71 million guaranteed. I mean, you got to think. I mean, that had to be a huge slap to the face to Kirk Cousins. Although I'm sure Kirk was asking for more, or else I'm sure a deal there could have been done.
Get out of here.
Yeah. In other words, yeah, Kirk Cousins, he's moving on now. His number one destination, he said, was, or I've read that he said is he wants to go to the Midwest, and that would be Minnesota. He'd like to land. Obviously, a lot of pieces there. Do they keep Case Keenum? Do they keep Teddy Bridgewater? Or are they sticking with Sam Bradford? A lot to kind of watch there in Minnesota. That's a fluid situation with those pieces there. But anyways, Alex Smith landing in Washington. I think there's no doubt in saying that overall offensive talent, he's kind of taking a downgrade in. I mean, I think Kansas City undoubtedly has a better offensive talent surrounding the quarterback position. How will Alex Smith do in Washington? What was your reaction when you first heard the news?
Man, it's hard to be Alex Smith. I mean, like whenever he go, and the thing about it, what's funny about it, when he goes to Washington, the backup is gonna be better. It's like wherever he goes, he breathes opportunity for the backup. I get a free agent, I'll be like, he's better than Alex Smith. Who would have thought this? And it's every year. But for him, congratulations, man. Kansas City must have seen something in the young Mahomes kid, because I'm excited for this kid. I mean, I truly am.
Travis Kelce, the Chiefs tight end, said in an interview, because this happened throughout, during the week, media week for the Super Bowl, which, I mean, news like this rarely ever happens. And that night the trade happened, earlier that day, the only two current players that were on media row or whatever it's called, it was Kirk Cousins and Alex Smith. So it just so happens that they were traded, or Alex Smith was traded to the Washington Redskins that night. But that next day, Travis Kelce, the Chiefs tight end, said in an interview with, I believe it was the Dan Patrick show on NBC Sportsnet, that the only way he could kind of explain or kind of define what he sees out of the rookie Pat Mahomes in practice is it was the same way that he kind of tried to explain what he saw out of Tyreek Hill his rookie year, where where you really just explain where you're selling it short, even if you're doing your best job in explaining it.
That's awesome, man. Well, Tyreek Hill was awesome. Goodness. Well, I think the big thing is, it's not even just, they traded for him. Now, I don't think they have the pieces around him, or that, I guess, the offense. I don't know. I mean, Alex Smith seems to be a quarterback. You put him in the offense, he'll make the right throws. I don't know if they got the big play threats, but man, I wouldn't be surprised if the Redskins, made something happen. But if you was gonna get Alex Smith and pay him the money, I'm assuming you probably could have kept Kirk Cousins. I think the big thing is now, where does Kirk Cousins go? And for me, if I was him, I would go to New York, man.
Oh man, no way.
I would go to New York. To me. No, the Giants. Because Eli, I would tell him, like, listen, Eli gone. Like, a young quarterback that's essentially proven they can throw the ball around, like, and then you have young receiver talent, and you got a defense. Listen, this is the place that I want to be, and I probably get to play against my old team and beat up on them. But my thing is, you want to look at where's the talent. You know what I mean? Like, Odell Beckham is. To me, Odell Beckham is the best receiver. Is the best receiver in the league right now, the most explosive receiver in the league. And then they got a young slot receiver. Listen, like, you want that on your team. You want somebody that no one can cover. You want a stable organization, which is the Giants. Even though they was down this year, for some reason they got the most Super Bowl ads I've ever seen out of a team that looked this trashy. I was like, oh my God. The Giants in the Super Bowl.
Marshall curse, man. I mean, I love the guy, but no matter what, he just can't seem to find the playoffs.
Yeah, it may be true. But that's why I would go for him. Like to me, going to Minnesota to have to play against a healthy Aaron Rodgers and then young and up and coming in Chicago and Trubisky and then in Detroit with a good quarterback as well and Matthew Stafford. I think just I don't know. I think he would just fit with the Giants just because it's the same teams you played. You know them already, but just because, man, you have a dynamic receiver. And it's time for Eli to go. Quite frankly, you know what? It's time for him to go. I like the commercial. You're dancing and you look goofy. Bull. It's time for you to go. You shouldn't even been there. You got benched. They should have had the backup quarterback dancing because he shouldn't have been there.
You think Geno Smith is worth dancing with Odell over Eli, huh?
It would have been awesome if he would have came in and subbed for him halfway through the dance. You would have been like, "Oh my, this is hilarious."
You're right. You're right. I'll say this. The only reason why I don't see New York pursuing Kirk Cousins is they have the number 2 overall pick. I got to think Pat Shurmur, the number 1 selling point was that number 2 overall pick. He can kind of go out and choose his own quarterback that he likes best, whether it's Sam Darnold, Josh Rosen.
How
whoever.
old is Kirk Cousins, man?
I believe he's 27.
He's 27. He'll probably play until he's 42. Get him. Why would you go and get an unproven quarterback that's terrible? Rosen is terrible. He talks a lot. He's already terrible. He's not going to work in New York unless he's really, really, really good.
29.
He ain't gonna be broad. He ain't gonna be Broadway Joe. He talk a lot, but his game ain't that big. Who's the other kid? USC quarterback. What's his name?
Sam Darnold.
He's terrible. Like he is the USC quarterback where they hype you up until they can't hype you no more, and then they'll give you 10 games. Oh no, he's gonna get it. Like no, he's not good. Well, he struggled a little bit. Oh, look at that big throw. He can do it all. Like no, he's not good. And Darnold, they wanted him to be really good. They did. You know what? I wanted him to be good. But he's Matt Barkley. That's who he is.
I think he's better than Barkley. I'll give him that.
No, he's not. He's not. The only reason that he's better than Barkley now because Barkley didn't come out his junior season. If Barkley would have come out his junior season, he probably been in the league struggling somewhere now, starting quarterback with somebody. But he waited a year, and then the hype dies away, and then you're like, oh, look, this guy is miserable.
I'll say this. I think Kirk Cousins either lands in Denver or Minnesota. I think the Jets could be a team to watch as well. I will say, out of the teams that have been mentioned, I will say New York will probably be the best fit for him. I mean, I just don't think – I think Eli, he's going to be there for another year. They'll draft a quarterback in the first round. But
why? If you're the coach, right, or the GM, I can get Cousins – or I can stay with Eli for another year. I can get a guy can be our guy for the next 13 years or the next even 10 years. I waste my time on another year of Eli. Like we've passed up on that. I struggled for 2 years and win a Super Bowl. We passed that.
Well, you know,
he struggled. You
know, it's
struggle.
One thing though. I mean, Kirk Cousins. It's not like he's going to come cheap. You're going to have to pay that guy, which means you're going to have to probably restructure some contracts or let some of these pieces go.
Quarterback. If you're not playing your quarterback, your team is awful. Other than the Eagles, which you got rookie and then you got your backup winning the Super Bowl. Other than
How
that,
about Blake Bortles, man? I know you're a big Blake supporter.
I like him, but the thing is that we seen with Cousins. We seen. Like before this year, if you telling me that the Eagles could have Blake Bortles as their backup or Nick Foles, Blake Bortles probably would have been the guy. But when you see somebody put the offense together for him and say, this is going to work for you, I'm going to put this offense together for you, then you succeed. Blake Bortles, they showed him all year that, hey man, listen, we ain't going to let you do anything. We're not gonna go into our bag of tricks. We're not gonna go into what is it, UCF. We're not gonna go into the college days and figure out what you do really well. We're not gonna invest in new receivers. We're gonna keep these slow receivers and we're gonna just play defense. Like, you gotta invest in your quarterback. You gotta have weapons. You gotta have receivers. Why tight end in the NFL puzzles me. Like, I think he's always been a tight end, but it's like all these young fast tight ends, and you can't get me a couple of them. The Eagles got about 9 of them. They just running them in and out.
Well,
like, come on,
seen
you got
what
to
happened
put
with
people.
Julius Thomas, paying him, and what happened there.
Well, yeah, but still, I mean, he's still, if you got to go young. I think at the tight end position, if you can stay athletic at the tight end position, you always have somebody open. Gronkowski he looked like a snail out there running routes, but he was open. Like, he just really, just like, man, like, I don't know why he's so good. He's just always open, and he looks slow and look like he's hurt. But when you a good tight end that can run routes and can do what you need to do, you always open. A tight end won that game, man. Urlacher there 1-on-1, tight end. When the Patriots needed something, who was it? The tight end. Hail Mary, who was it going to? That tight end. When they was really good, with when they had the 2 tight ends with Hernandez, they was almost unstoppable. Like, if you can get a good tight end, man, it's just hard to stop these teams because they just a mismatch for everybody. And for Blake Bortles, man, you got to tell him, man, Mercedes Lewis, it's an old Mercedes. Old Mercedes just don't look good as the new ones. They just don't.
They still run though, man. They still run great.
You gotta pay so much money for the, for that foreign, technology in the car, man. It costs the same, but it just doesn't look the same. I don't know, man.
I hear you. Hey, DJ, before we wrap it up, one last thing. A couple of your former teammates did win a Super Bowl yesterday, in Alshon Jeffrey and Corey Graham as well. I just want to kind of give you the podium. Any words to them? Any shout outs to them? I mean, what was it like to see a couple of your former teammates win the championship?
It's cool because before you start playing, you always have a team, but once you play, you just cheer for guys you play with. Out there, he was getting abused a little bit by Gronkowski for a second to come out on top, and I think for Corey Graham, that's his second Super Bowl.
Yeah, he won with the Ravens.
So, and he's been a big part of that team, man. And to see him, develop from just in Chicago to be like an A special teams guy, to be an intricate part of, that defense going in and playing safety, and for you to be out there and say, man, I got to guard Gronkowski. Like, they gave me that assignment. Like, my team, my coach had that much confidence in me. And then for Alshon, I mean, I thought he was awful, in Chicago. Like, when I was there when he first came in, I thought he was one of the worst receivers I had ever seen. Like, I was surprised. Like, cause when I seen him in college, you see highlights and it's like, man, this cat is awesome. Like, he's from South Carolina, like I'm from South Carolina. But it's obvious, man, that he's grown. It's obvious that, they doing the plays to make him succeed. They throw the ball up high for him. He go up and get it like a basketball player. He's a great basketball player in high school. Has great hands, really strong with the ball. And he came out there and made his impact known. Like, he was a number one. He's a Super Bowl winning receiver. Receiver on a team where he was a number one threat. Like that, it's something to be said about that. And he scored the first touchdown. So, you got to be happy for him.
No doubt about it. And, you mentioned Alshon Jeffrey, great basketball player. Totally meant to ask you this when you were talking about Urlacher and playing with him. I heard Urlacher is a pretty good basketball player as well. Were you ever able to play any hoops?
Well, no, I never played with. I seen we was over his house one time and he had like a picture of him like dunking or something. So I'm sure he was pretty good. I never got it. I played with Peppers and a lot of the other guys because Peppers was probably the most athletic.
How many times did Cutler dunk on you?
Nah, he did. He can play though. He can shoot. We played in like a celebrity game this summer over in Nashville or whatever, so he can play. But I never got a chance to play. I mean, when I got there, he was too old and brittle. So if he would have played a basketball game, that might have been his season. So.
Yeah, didn't want to risk that. Didn't want to be the guy that reached in on Urlacher and forcing some
Hurt
type of
his
injury
hand.
on him.
So.
Yeah.
That's why Brady couldn't catch the ball. His hand was hurt.
Yeah, Brady wasn't able to catch it, but Foles was. And again, the Philadelphia Eagles, they win their first Super Bowl in franchise history, 41-33 over Tom Brady and the New England Patriots. Fantastic game, and that's going to do it for tonight's show. Thanks for tuning in. This is Chris and DJ's show. I'm Chris Chanfelt. He's former Chicago Bears DJ.
Holla for it,
defensive back DJ Moore. DJ, any final words before we go off air?
No, man, I'm looking forward to next season. There's already a lot of storylines. The thing about NFL is as soon as it's over, it starts all over again, and now you got the draft and pro days, and yeah, so a lot of young people, gonna live out a dream, and a lot of those players are gonna get on teams and make impact. So good luck to those young guys coming up.
I'm looking forward to it. I love the draft process, and I'm looking forward to picking your brain, DJ, throughout the process as somebody that's kind of gone through these team interviews, the combine, pro day, and of course training for the pro day. All that's already going on. I think it's a lot of. How is that process? How was that process for you? Just quickly, DJ. I mean, obviously the tape is the most important thing, but as you look forward, or as you fast forward through these next couple of months, I mean, the biggest thing is going to be your 40 time, your vertical. I mean, you're kind of training to be a track star, and your football. I don't want to say your football pass is just thrown away, but a lot of people are going to be paying a lot of attention to how fast you can run, how many reps of 225 you can bench press, and all that. Did you kind of enjoy this process, or was this something you're really looking forward to just doing and getting over with?
I enjoyed it. I think when I went down to Pensacola and we stayed down there for like a month and a half and had a blast. But all you do is just run. You're gonna be with the best trainers and the strength coaches and taking creatine, and they're helping you with your bench and trying to get it to the optimal level. You're gonna go outside, and depending on who your agent is, if you got a big time agent, I think Jared Rice or somebody might have came and talked to us, or, everybody's connected to somebody, and guys will, get to do all those drills, cause the drills. You'll do the drills. You'll practice the exact same drills, the way the coach is doing with you, and all the bags. You see the same drills every single time, on that, on the combine and stuff like that. So you'll know the drills and you'll go through them time and time again. But even when you get out there, it'll be different. It'll be different. All eyes on you. Coaches sitting up there. You running the 40. Some people know they really fast. Some people don't. I mean, I just knew I wasn't fast. I didn't really want to run the 40. So, cause I knew that it would just put me in a negative light because I was smaller. Even though I played in the SEC and did really good, they just want to see numbers, cause they're not thinking in, what you did out there on the field. They thinking in, you got speed. I can coach that. You really strong, I can coach that. Or you really knowledgeable, I can coach that. But if you're not that fast, I don't know if I want to even coach that. So if you can run as fast as you can. If you got and if I had any advice for like younger people in high school and even, elementary, listen, run. Be as fast as you possibly can, because that's what it boils down to, especially skill position wise. But even when you see linemen run fast, guess what? They want them. I want that big guy that can run around and pull, kind of like the Eagles off of their center, real athletic, and get out and pull and can run down the field. Speed kills, man.
Yeah, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. We've seen John Ross, the receiver from Washington.
Well, he got killed. So, yeah. So hopefully next year his speed will kill. He ran into when you're running real fast, you run into a big wall and you can't take it. Well, see ya. But still, he'll get a chance to be everywhere, because you run that fast, somebody always finds something for you to do.
And, of course, he was taken in the first round by the Cincinnati Bengals. DJ, that's going to do it for tonight's show. Thank you, as always, for taking the time to do this, and we'll talk again next week, man.
Holla.